You don't have to be a social media monster to do well here. Even if you are one, there are other ways to be successful. And yes, like you said, there are basics to success, but we have people using our tool getting 30 plus leads and they've never posted about it on social. And then we have people posting on social getting the same numbers. Less
Yeah.
time on the admin and more time on the relationship building. Be able to offer these curated itineraries, these personalized neighborhood matches in less time than it takes to drive someone from 40 minutes on one side of the city to 40 minutes to the other in somewhere they're not going to be a good fit for. We see sports and entertainment all the time, right? They're relocating,
For
they got a
sure.
tight timeline, they got, high expectations, and this is a concierge tool that can be used there, right? So, exactly like you said, I think it's, the opportunities of how to use this tool or any tool in your space are endless. Figure out what your pillars are as an agent and start there to figure out how to be successful with those pillars.
What if there was a way for you to read your client's mind and know with specifics what neighborhood would match their life and lifestyle just perfectly? Well, there's a solution for that. This episode with Taylor Casey, we talk about her product called Camino and what it does and what it is. It's a quick 5 to maybe 7 minute survey that your clients take, little Quizlet. And the byproduct is they will be able to discover with refined detail what neighborhoods are going to actually fit them best. What that does for you is it not only arms you with information, but it helps to build an initial level of rapport in relationship with them. The byproduct of that is a 25% lead to conversion ratio. So, if you want to learn more about that product, scroll to the link, and next to that is the discount code. Episodes like this would not be possible without sponsorship, so I have to give a special thank you to my friend Andy Bovender, the founder of the Bovender team out of the Carolinas. He and his team have helped more than 5,000 families. So their systems, their process, they're dialed. The way they handle somebody from the beginning to the closing is outstanding. So if you have that client who's been thinking about making a move to or from that area, give them a call. They'll be well taken care of. If you want to hang out with Andy and other amazing past guests of these episodes, take a look at the Inner Circle group. It's a private group that we meet 2 times a month, and we share best practices, good ideas, and referrals from time to time. That said, I'm your host and partner out of San Francisco, Sean Kunkler. All right, Taylor, you said something in our pre-talk which it kind of blew my socks off, and I have to go back and revisit this. So a lead to conversion. So let's say a lead comes in from Zillow. Agents have about a 3% conversion. However, with your product, they have a 25% lead to close conversion. That's, if agents are listening, that's a staggering number. But before we get into all of that, before we talk about what it is, I would love to start with who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. My name is Taylor Casey. I am a recovering home buyer, so I'm coming from the other side, not necessarily an agent. But I have found myself to be fast friends in the real estate agent world as an entrepreneur and a female entrepreneur. My background is pretty creative. I was an accounting major in undergrad, had a college life crisis and took a pivot from there, ended up in the tech world for about 5 years and going through the home buying process. One time as a failure and one time successfully is what really preempted me getting into this space with the tool that we have today.
That's wild. I mean, and that gives you just from going through that experience in just based on what you said, viewing it from that entrepreneurial mind, your synapses must have been firing of like, oh, this should be better. This should be better. Why isn't this happening?
Very much so. I first went through the home buying experience or tried to in 2017. And I was in a high relocation area. For those
Mm,
listening in North Carolina, you know how high inbound relocation is. I was one of those moving to the area, looking to buy. Wish I would
yeah.
have. And I always say, fortunately or unfortunately, I had about a 6-week window and a first time agent. And the lifestyle that I was describing was not matching up with the homes that we were looking at. I was 25 at the time and looking to live a 25-year-old lifestyle, and
Yeah.
I was ending up in the suburbs. And I was closer to the kids' age in the suburbs than I was to, the parents at that point. So I couldn't get the mismatch right, I would love the house that they matched me with, and I'd be like, "I absolutely have to go see this," and then I would get there and realize that it was not the lifestyle I was looking for, it was not the community that I would needed at that age,
Yeah.
and exactly like you said, I kept saying, "There's so much technology out there, we have to be able to solve this problem," and being in such a high relocation area, I heard that story repeatedly, it wasn't just me, it was
Yeah.
everyone moving there that said, we're relocating here or we've come to a new life phase, we don't know where we want to be in this life phase,
Mhm.
and therefore we're going to rent for a year to figure it out. And that just felt like a lot of money down the drain just to discover or explore what area of the metro or town that you're in is best for you.
Ah, it's such a good point. I mean, I moved from Connecticut to San Francisco about 2.5 decades ago, so definitely the technology was not there. But fast forward to me being in real estate, frequently I have, let's say, Google employees who are relocating from New York to San Francisco. They haven't spent any significant time here. It's a 7 by 7 mile, or I'm sorry, a 7 by 7 mile city. So it's small, but it's really dense. And to your point, certain neighborhoods have certain vibes. You could be on one side of the city and your commute time is 40 minutes different than
Uh-huh.
being in a different pocket of the city. So it's so, so nuanced.
Mhm.
I totally empathize. And simultaneously, most of my clients, you have a very small window. They're trying to relocate their life, start their job, and there's so many things happening all at once.
Mhm.
Tell me about this product. Like, what was your solve to
Yeah.
this thing?
Yeah, so going through it twice, again, on the home buyer side, everything you said was my experience, right? So I was one of them, but I kept seeing buyers who were coming in who had tight timelines. Maybe it was the
Mhm.
spouse that was in charge of the move, and they wanted to feel confident about the decision they were making,
Yeah.
but also needed to do it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And we see that even in the city too, right? Of metro areas, things like that. People are just going into a different life phase. They now have 3 kids. They're not 25 anymore, and they need to understand where they want to be. So, going through the home buyer, I think I had a little bit of a victim mentality of like, how come we can't get more help on this? And the second time, when I started working with an agent and a team, I realized how much of that is actually falling on the real estate agent to close that gap.
Yeah.
And there's no tooling on your side either, right? So, you wear many hats, one of which is tour guide. You are, trying to get these leads and as quickly as possible understand what they need, understand what lifestyle fits. And what that typically looks like is, the creation of neighborhood guides on end or ultimately driving them around to explore different areas, creating itineraries for them to go check out local spots. And I completely applaud real estate agents for doing that because that's what it takes, right, to build a relationship.
Yeah.
But, I saw such a need for tooling to facilitate that, right? Less
Yeah.
time on the admin and more time on the relationship building. Be able to offer these curated itineraries, these personalized neighborhood matches in less time than it takes to drive someone from 40 minutes on one side of the city to 40 minutes to the other in somewhere they're not going to be a good fit for.
Yeah, and there's so many things that you packed within that is buyers won't make a decision unless they're confident. And so they have to go through some sort of experience to educate themselves to gain that aspect of confidence. From the agent's perspective, it's opportunity costs.
Mhm.
Like, yes, I could absolutely spend a full day driving a client around. However, if I can have a tool to do it and then I have a coffee meetup with them, I can then compress the time down to 30 minutes, and now I can do many more of those with my time. So I think there is definitely an efficiency thing. The perspective I always have in sales and I adopted this very early on, is a buyer's coming to you with a vision in their head, and it's
Mhm.
our goal to ask enough questions so we can see the vision with them.
Exactly.
And that's the gap. Like that's always, always, always our challenge. And then it's more challenging because it just the nature of people, right? Not
What?
everybody's very clear with their communication. Some people prefer text over face to face. And so
Yeah,
extracting this information becomes a challenge from our perspective, right? Not
absolutely.
everybody's super clear either. Is
Yep.
like you were like, "Hey, I'm like 25 and I want to be in a 25-year-old scene." Like not
Mhm.
everybody's clear. Like they're
Yep.
like and so it falls back again on the agent who's got to be intuitive and kind of reading between the lines and making observations like, oh, they have a dog.
Okay.
Oh, they have a kid. They have this. They're commuting to this area, and you're trying to fill in all these magical blanks.
Yes, exactly. You nailed it, and that's a perfect lead into how it works, right? What we found is, I think I'm being clear by saying, "Well, I'm 25, I want a 25-year-old lifestyle, fit me to the perfect neighborhood."
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of a gap there, what
There's
my
a huge gap. And
Yeah.
not to interrupt, it's like, well, what in the evening or in the morning, what do
Yep.
you enjoy doing? Oh, I love to go to dance class or I love to go here. Great.
Mhm.
Do you run out for coffee in the morning or do you make it at home? And
Yes,
do you have any pets? And so it continues to follow up. Like me, I just can't take it as, oh, they want a 25-year-old. And I can't just assume what that is. Like, maybe you wanna
exactly.
be next to the library in the university. Like,
Exactly.
maybe it's continuing education. I don't unless another series of questions comes.
Absolutely. Yep, and that is exactly where I was able to apply, like you said, some of the technology,
Yeah,
from my background to get us to more personalized results for these individuals. My goal was to have a tool that really answered these buyers' questions, but also, like you said, facilitate the experience that the agent was having
yeah.
on supporting their buyers. And so what we came up with is what I like to call a simple BuzzFeed quiz for buyers. It is a
Huh,
great entry point. Everyone loves to take a quiz. That's what we found, and it's almost like a personality match, but for
yeah.
neighborhoods. And so we have agents who are posting saying, "Hey, let's find the perfect neighborhood match for you." 5 to 7
Mhm.
minutes where the buyer is essentially able to brain dump what their vision is, right? What do they like to do on the weekend? How would they describe the vibe of the area that they're in? Is it eco-conscious? Is it hipster? Is it historic? All
Wow.
of these things that people use to describe where they wanna be, we collect, and then we use about 50 different data sources to match them with the top 10 neighborhoods in those areas and curate local itineraries to go check those out. So all of this is packaged up for the buyer, but it's delivered through the agent. It is in the agent's branding. It's sent to the agent first so that they
Yeah.
can then choose how to manage the relationship with those buyers.
That is amazing. Like, such a good it closes a huge gap. It's essentially you're turning the tables and interviewing them. And not for nothing. If a buyer is actually interested, they'll invest 5 minutes
Exactly.
to do a quiz
Yep.
for
We love to
clarification,
say
especially if they're unclear.
exactly. We love to say, "Do you wanna take 5 to 7 minutes or 5 to 7 months finding a neighborhood that works for you?" Right? And
Touche,
it's so
that's a good
true,
one.
I could easily take 5 to 7 months exploring a metro area that,
Yeah,
is even 7 by 7 miles.
yeah,
So what we have found is that 5 to 7 minutes is the perfect sweet spot, right? It is a fantastic way for an agent to provide value rather than just
yeah,
saying, "Hey, I need you to fill out this intake form that tells me everything about you with nothing in return." So we put it out there to provide value for these buyers, and that generates leads. But it's just long enough, and you're getting their contact information where you are getting qualified buyers who are intent to buy, right? They're really excited about getting their results, to have a better way to be matched with the area and to explore that.
yeah.
And the agent gets to facilitate all of that.
Holy cow, that's such a it's just so brilliant, especially if you're in a transient or mass transient area where people are flowing in and out. What a great tool. Or even, that person who you've worked with in the past. It's like a quick, hey, your life and lifestyle has changed. Let's do a quick recalibration. Maybe let's figure out if another neighborhood might be a better fit for you at this time.
Exactly. Yep, we found those use cases. We've also seen it be great for second homes, right? Hey,
Mm.
you're
Oh
looking to
my
make
god,
a
yeah.
move to the Carolinas or to somewhere in Florida, right? You're looking for a
Yeah.
second home. Let's figure out what are your priorities around that and what town or area may be best for you.
I'd be willing to bet the hardest part of your day isn't the work. It's the mental load. It's the decision fatigue. It's the shuffling of priorities while you're already playing catch up. You're checking off things from your to do list just as fast as they're getting added. And I'd also be willing to bet some of those meaningful business relationships you've had in the past have begun to fade. Ace Your Day is a physical deck of 52 strategic cards designed to halt fatigue. Refined by real world results, this system replaces chaos of a to do list with a curated set of high impact actions. It's simple: set a timer for 15 minutes, draw a card, and make your move. The deck handles the thinking, you drive the business. Building a secure business should not be a guessing game. Let's stop overthinking the day and trust a system that prioritizes connections and relationships. Let the deck handle the strategy, you focus on the results. Click the link in the description to reclaim your day 15 minutes at a time. Oh my gosh. I mean, you're like, yeah, my brain is working overtime. I'm like, oh yeah, for my pied a terre buyers who they live in proximity to the city, not super savvy with it, but they want to have a spot.
Mhm.
They want to have a landing pad for the weekend. And
Mhm.
it's like, well, great. What are the things you want to do? And then let's find a neighborhood. All right, I'm gonna change directions really quick because I'm in a contract to close day. I'm in legal meetings all the time. We're the number one most litigious area in the US. So like that's always burning in the back of my head. Does this play nice with the Fair Housing Act and all of those laws, if you
Yes.
will?
Yep, great question. The most important question, and we usually lead with this when we're introducing the product, is the answer is yes. When I was starting out, solo entrepreneur here, trying to get this off the ground, the first thing I did was talk to a lot of agents, and that was always their first question. And so, what we have invested heavily in is anytime we go into a new town, a new city, a new market, is getting fair housing reviewed again. And so, every time we do that, we look at our baseline of where we're at from a federal level, a state level, and a city level to make sure that this is compliant in every new area that we go into.
That's brilliant.
Very important.
It's massively important. I mean, we all obviously want to be compliant, but we also don't want to get into trouble, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want it to be something you guys don't have to worry about, right? And of course, we wanna be compliant as well.
Yeah.
And so doing that up front and making sure that that's never, a risk for you is something that's important to us and the product that we're bringing.
That's amazing. I mean, that just takes a layer of stress off because now it's like, again, we can, as me as the agent, I can just focus on the business,
Mhm.
knowing that you're dotting those I's and crossing those T's for me. Like it's
Mhm.
one thing that I just don't need to worry about. I feel like with this product, like my mind is going wild of all the different ways I would apply it to the business. Right? We're always as agents, you know, you hear it to nauseum, lead with value, but no one
Mhm.
ever actually really knows specifically what that is. And like this is such a massive value. Like
Yes.
you're changing the the way that somebody's going through a process. To your point, they can either go through it in 5 to 7 months or 5 to 7 minutes.
Yes.
And if it's framed in that way, I would say 90%. And then on the back end, to your as we started this conversation, there's a 25% lead to conversion,
Mhm.
like the
We're
actual
very proud of
paychecks. That's
that.
flipping staggering. That's such a huge, huge number. That's out of 100 people you send this thing to, 25 of them are gonna close. It's bonkers.
We're incredibly proud of it, and yes, I think to your point, We've been working super closely with buyers or excuse me, with, agents for over 3 years now, and I think why this tool works so well in almost every use case, right? It works at open houses, it works with relocating buyers, second home buyers, all of these different scenarios,
For
is
sure.
because it is providing something of value, but it's also providing something of value that aligns with where we're headed, which is lifestyle-focused buying.
Yeah.
And that's what I've seen from agents over these past 3 years is the agents who are making an impact and really able to develop relationships with buyers and sell at, a higher scale is
Uh-huh.
those that are focused on lifestyle, right? It's not just what's within those 4 walls. They're able to, you know, uh, picture or provide a picture of what that buyer's life is gonna look like in the area. Where are they gonna get coffee? Where are they gonna walk their dog? All of those different aspects that make a community is what people are looking for, right? Post pandemic, that's been more prevalent than ever, and you see that everywhere. You see that on the way that agents are putting social media content out, how homes are being described, all of those things. So this tool just fits into that puzzle really well of what agents are doing in terms of emphasizing the lifestyle that these buyers will live in a certain area.
Hey, friends, I have a small favor to ask. For me to continue to bring you outstanding guests who share their best kept secrets for growing a successful real estate business, please take a moment and hit that like button so agents like you can find this content. And also hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Now, back to our show. Yeah, and I would even challenge that definition, right? Lifestyle ultimately is the relationship you have with the neighborhood
Yep.
and in relationship, right? And then that leans heavily on the relationship that person has, i.e., the trust they have with the agent to guide them to the right area. And I think I'm at 170 episodes, and I can say with the utmost confidence, top performing agents focus on the relationship first.
Yes.
It, it's uh, it's like when you get that lead, it's you build rapport, build a relationship, get FaceTime, learn things
Yes.
about them. The agents who are doing more face-to-face events and spending
Yes.
time making new friends are the ones who are succeeding. So there's a crazy stat. The number keeps changing because there's so many agents exiting the industry, but there's about 2 million agents in the US.
Mhm.
80% of those did 0 sales last year.
Yes.
Flipping
Yes.
staggering,
Mhm.
right? And I in having done so much sales and had again so many of these conversations, I think we as agents, if we just spend more time on the relationship and the reciprocity of it and viewing relationships as not a place for me to go and get something, but a
Yes.
place for me to go and give something to a client who I'm helping them. I mean, what an amazing tool. Call up all the people you know in HR and say, "Hey, I know you work with execs who are relocating. Here's an amazing simple tool for them so they can find a place that's in easier proximity to get to the office. Hey, if you need
Exactly.
any help, let me know. I'm happy to give them, a black car
Mhm.
tour around the city." And you can then stack onto that and build a relationship. I think
Yes.
there's so many ways to use this tool. Um, there's this magical thing that we're talking about. Where does it live? Is it a website? Is it an app? Like what is like can you give me some more specifics around it?
Yeah, great question. So, in essence, it's a website, but it can live wherever you want it to, right? So, it's something that you can embed in your current website, right? So, you just have a link on there that says, "Hey, as part of your neighborhood guides, not only do we have these neighborhood guides, but let's take it a step further. Let's find your perfect neighborhood match based on what
Yeah,
you're looking for." And so, we highly recommend people link it to their website. We highly recommend people put it on their social, and
for
we have
sure.
best practices in terms of, feed posts you could use, stories that you could use, put it in your link in bio. YouTube has been absolutely fantastic.
Oh, I
One
bet.
thing that I always like to emphasize, and I encourage all of you guys to do it, is go just type into Google, what are the best neighborhoods in X area, in Raleigh, in San Francisco, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if not, I'll give you a free month, reach out to me. I guarantee you the first result will be Reddit. that is their best resource is going through Reddit threads, and that is what your buyers are looking at, right? Like, that is their only resource, and after that, you'll see a couple of agent pages with their neighborhood guides, but if you really wanna stand out, the opportunity is there. We're
Yeah.
competing against, Reddit threads, and people don't have time to go through that, and, of course,
Yeah.
there's the trustworthiness of that, so
Yeah.
we have found that, putting this tool out there has really attracted all of those buyers who are searching that, right? Who are searching what are the best neighborhoods in the Raleigh area for a family of 4. They don't want Reddit. That's not something they're going to base one of the biggest decisions of their life off of. And so, if you're able to provide this tool via your website, via social, at your open houses, in your email signature, YouTube, all of these different externally facing things, and your newsletters everywhere, you will find buyers who want it, right? And like you said, the use cases are endless, so it's just positioning it accordingly. We
Yeah.
consistently see people use it with past buyers of, "Hey, are you in the right place?" Or, "Are you looking for second homes?" Or, "Hey, just a refresh of how do you wanna spend your weekend? Let's put together an itinerary for you." All of those are ready-made, opportunities, like you said, to provide value, Sean, and invest back in the individuals you're working with, and that relationship pays dividends.
Well, and it's fascinating too, thinking about, let's say you have 100 people who take this test. There's going to be patterns are going to emerge. And
Yes.
then if you're creating web content, know what people are predisposed to search for, right?
Yes.
If hypothetically 100 people do it and 75 have dogs, now know create more content
Yes.
around dogs. Like, what are dog friendly bars, or what are the best places to go for hikes on the weekends? And like it's giving you such a massive insight to your actual client base. It's funny in listening and hearing you share all of that. My family and I were taking a trip to Japan, and I know we're just visiting, but the process is very similar,
Yes.
right? We all went to YouTube and was like, "Hey, like, let's visually see some videos of cool areas and neighborhoods. Let's figure out what neighborhood to get an Airbnb in.
Yes.
Let's figure out, like, what are some of the best restaurants to go hit in those areas." My sons are one of them's really into thrifting and fashion, and so it's like, let's figure that out. I really like selvedge denim, so it's
Mm,
like, where are those shops? And so I feel like there's a similar pattern that happens when, and so I think just agents observationally viewing themselves as, the next time you travel, look at some of the things and some of the places you're going,
yes.
and then that's ultimately where you preemptively want to be for your spot, if that type of marketing is something you're doing.
Yes.
But what a great, and now I'm just like, what a great, let's say you create, like, let's say you're like Ali Buscemi and you do a Raleigh neighborhood report. And then your call to action is, hey, click the link and you can take a 5-minute survey and figure out your best neighborhood. Boom. The pre-vetted lead, you already know volume, volumes about them before you ever pick up the phone. The other part of it is they already know who you are because they just watched your video.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Massive. What a
It
game
is.
changer.
It fits right into the funnel, that in the real estate space we talk about all the time, right? Of
Yep.
you're starting at the top and able to work down into getting them to close, hopefully. This fits in perfectly, right? They're able to get to know you, but you're also providing something of value to them that allows them to feel comfortable with the relationship and continue to feel like they can trust you, right? These
Yeah.
these matches are data backed, and then you pair that with the agent who knows the area so well, and it's just setting you up for a home run.
Oh, that's so good. I'm like, we're definitely, I want to chat with you offline. Um, for sure.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
period. Exclamation point. Like, there's so much, like, I get pitched all the time and I hear pitches, and there's so much just redundant garbage out in the market
Mhm.
that doesn't actually solve the problem. They just bludgeon you with sales and marketing, and so I really appreciate that you're really coming at this with a solution for the consumer,
Yeah.
and basically pre-positioning the agent because of that. And it's just such a more elegant way so many people, so many agents, we don't want to be known as salespeople. We want to be known as advisors. And this, from the moment we meet each other, you're helping me position that as
Exactly.
I'm now your Sherpa guiding
Mhm.
you through this experience.
Exactly. Yep, that is absolutely our goal. You know, sometimes we'll get asked, does this replace the agent relationship, right? And my answer to that always is it enhances it, right? We are setting you up for the home run, like I mentioned a second ago, right? Rather
Yeah,
than spending your time actually building the itinerary, you hand them the curated itinerary and you still have the opportunity to hop in the car and drive around with them. Or you show up to that very first meeting with a cheat sheet on who this buyer is and how you can develop a relationship with them that's deeper and more meaningful. And so our
100%.
whole goal is to enhance that agent's ability to create a relationship with their buyers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if any agent thinks that it would like detract or pull from it, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not dissimilar from any other experience,
Yep.
right? It's some for some reason this is crazy and a random tangent, but I have ADHD, so forgive me. But I went to Italy years ago, and my buddy and I rolled up to this really quiet little restaurant, and we went in. There was like this older woman who was the waitress, and she sat down with us and pulled out a pen, and like this very thick Italian accent was just asking us questions about what we liked for food. Like, do you like vegetables? Do you like meat? What kind of meat do you like? Do you prefer fish? And just kept asking. Like it was like this, it was kind of like intense because it was like question after question. And she's like, okay, I got you. And didn't really, like, we didn't order anything. And she just kind of like waved us off, left, and then out of the corner of the restaurant, you can see through the window, she went to the market next door, bought us the food,
No
and then
way.
came back and made us meals based on what we shared. And I feel like that's this similar, like this highly personal, highly curated experience.
Mhm.
Like she
Yes.
came and sat with us. Like that's like such a maternal thing to do.
Yes.
And like, what do you want? And then it was like this, oh, it was such a beautiful
And
experience.
I just think it's such a good example of why that's so important because you're sitting here telling that story, right? And if she had just taken your order and given you that food, you wouldn't remember that experience or the time that she took to invest in understanding you better, right? And
It's so
I think
true.
that applies to any relationship-based service that you're looking to provide, how important that is.
I mean,
I
I think any service.
Yeah, oh, yes,
Like
100%. I was gonna say we have to talk offline about travel, but that, a big part of this product was me, and what I would have wanted,
Mhm.
and before starting this company, I traveled around Europe for 6 months, and so every place that we were looking to go and taking a sabbatical from work and trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, every place I went, I was looking to create those itineraries, figure out, what
right.
each city, I wanted to do in those areas and what was going to align with the lifestyle I was looking for, that week that I was there. And that experience really reinforced that regardless of how long you're traveling, if this is a forever home or, a
Mhm,
starter
mhm.
home or anything else, that having that lifestyle and community preference is even more important. If I was investing that much for a week of my time, imagine how
Right.
important it is for someone who's buying a house to feel that comfortable with the area.
Such a great point, right? Like how much research we do, which we do it far more frequently for
Yeah.
vacations, and that's just a week or 2 of investment. Like
Mhm.
this is a significant amount of money and a significant amount of time these folks are investing.
Mhm.
And so I mean, I'm older than you, but I remember travel agencies, and you would have like a travel agent, and you would call them, and you would do this. Like you would tell them, and they would do the research and find you all of those places.
Mhm.
Rather, I mean, this is like pre or early internet, and so I feel like there's like a similar. This is a similar experience where it's the hand curated
Yes.
aspect of it that highly refines, that next level. So, yeah, I mean, again, like, I'm reflecting on the question that the agent posed is like, does this detract or deepen the relationship? It 100% deepens it.
Mhm.
It can't not. I think the proof in the pudding is a 3% conversion versus a 25% conversion. Like,
Yeah.
that's the case in point, period. If somebody wants to actually take a look at what this product, your company is there what's the website?
Yeah, so our website is Camino.com. A little weird spelling for trademark reasons, and I can give you the background on the naming, but it's KAHMINO.com, Camino.com, and you can go on there and book time with me to see a demo and see it live or sign up. We are expanding nationwide, so we have founding groups in cities. And
Mm.
so if there's not an existing founding group, you can actually sign up to be the first member or first team to do so and get that city launched. Something that we noticed pretty early on is how important differentiation is for these agents. And so we actually cap every city that we go into to ensure that this tool remains a differentiator for agents, which is why we, set up those founding groups and foster the community. You mentioned how much you get pitched. We understand that, and we actually have done no paid marketing for this. It's all referral and word of mouth, agent to agent, which has been really helpful because cross-market referrals is, the business that you guys are in the first place. So, that's how we've built out these markets and cap them, pretty quickly.
I mean, honestly, like Taylor, I'm not blowing smoke. Like I rarely get excited about a product, and this is genuinely something that's different that really elevates the agent in a unique way. And I have no problems shouting that from the rooftops. Like I feel
Thank you.
like so I from like the referral perspective, I have a couple mastermind groups, 100% going to be sharing it with them. I think especially if you're locking markets, it's only gonna help pre-position those agents, and if they do a good job with SEO, it's gonna help
Exactly.
them be the second to Reddit on those searches, and then those people who are looking for the deeper relationship, they'll know who to go to, and it's yeah, I think, again, I genuinely feel like the product that you've created is it's unique, and it's solving a true problem that is and has existed for a long time in a way that actually bonds people and converts them because that's the end of the day is we're trying to help people move into homes. Like
Yep, yep.
that's the goal.
Yep, exactly. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. It's been so exciting to see this come to life, and the feedback we've gotten has been incredible, not only from buyers but from agents, right? That relationship building that agents do with buyers is what I want to do with all of the agents that we work with. And it's the
Yeah.
most fun part of my job is understanding how this is helping them and seeing them get excited about how many leads are coming in the door. Has been a really cool experience over the past 3 years.
That's amazing. And you're at the 3-year mark. How's the adventure of entrepreneurship been for you? Tough?
I feel kindred spirits with all of the real estate agents that I work with, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Everyone is a little mini entrepreneur out here, and I consider myself, one of many. But it has been a ride. We have
They always are.
Yep, I will say, what everyone says, which is I've learned a lot. I never thought I would have ended up here in a million years. I probably wouldn't have classified myself as someone who had entrepreneurial chops until post-accounting major when I thought that was gonna be my life path. So, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a unique journey. My background is tech, now that I got out and spent about 5 years in that space, really loved the company I was working for, had way more responsibility than I should have, went through, the whole startup process, but, it was in the insurance space,
Oh,
and I
totally
came
different.
Yes, very different, and I came to this crossroads where I was like, "This company has been fantastic." I have
Yeah.
gotten to build so much, really see what a startup looks like to run, and, um, be successful. We ended up getting acquired, but I had a crossroads where I said, "Do I wanna be the insurance person for the rest of my life?" And the
Yeah.
answer was probably not. And so that's when I decided to jump into this new journey. Um, got into it, because I love building, I love the relationship piece, and I wanna move fast and solve problems, and there's no better place to do that than the entrepreneurial world. Um, but you have to love it in order to do this, it's a grind, and that's what I appreciate about it. I like the challenge and I like jumping into it, but it's been a ride for 3 years.
That's wild. You remind me of my niece. And I think you guys are actually about the same age, but she went to school, became an accountant, and then was working at an insurance company,
Mm.
realized, wait, this isn't my bag. Decided after having a degree to go back to school for nursing
Oh, good for her.
and just finished up the program and passed all the licensing and all of that, but completely changed gears. And
Yep.
so I hats off to you. I think it's hard to at any age to reinvent yourself and go in a new direction. And then especially entrepreneurship is just there's no roadmap. Like you're
No.
just like
No. Once you do it, you really realize that. I've had people tell me before that there is one, and to an extent, there is, but at the end of the day, it's really just putting one foot in front of the other.
100%.
Just continuing that.
There's concepts, but there's
Yes.
no like every business, you either need to sell the volume to make money, you need to increase your price, or you need to decrease overhead. Like those are true for any business.
Yes.
But then outside of that, the nuance of the how,
Yes.
that's the CEO. Like that's the person at the helm who's getting to pull and figure out all of those levers. My dad, who had a few businesses and the longest one for about 45 years before he retired, he was like, "You can do a business plan, but every time you start selling products, you're gonna have to rewrite it anyways." And
Yes.
he's like, it's just that's the nature of the beast. It just kind of keeps
Truly.
morphing and evolving.
And you have to be a certain type of person to do that.
You do.
I I've always tried to position myself around ambitious people. I was fortunate to play sports in college, and I think, I equate athletes very closely with entrepreneurs. They
A
have this
thousand percent.
grit, and that is what drives me, right? You have to be a certain type of person, a certain type of mindset to
Yeah.
get up every time you're knocked down, do it wrong completely and start over and still know and still have the confidence that you can get there and that you can figure it out. And that's been my favorite part about working with real estate agents is you can't be in this business without that.
Yeah.
And so I feel that alignment with who we're working with, which has been fun.
I love that you brought up the sports. That was an observation I've had with this podcast and highly, highly successful agents. I don't think you have to be in sports, but I do think sports gives you a unique,
Couldn't
unfair
agree more.
advantage. I think the big thing that sports taught me is just because you lost, you're not a loser.
Yes.
Like in practice is where you just go to eat shit. Like
Yes.
in the practice is where that's where it's all built and made.
Yes.
The game day is where you just show up,
Yep.
but it's the daily practice of in that mindset there. And then the results just they either happen for you or they don't. And
Yep.
and if they don't, you have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what you need to practice better or do
Yeah.
differently. And I do genuinely think that gives it to you. Like my son does fencing, and if you're not familiar with fencing, they don't have, like, levels. They have levels, but when you go to compete, you do a first round, right? And
Mhm.
they do all this matching and pairing, and then they put you in pools. Everybody from unranked to top ranked. Like,
Mhm.
he's gone against, like, number 1 in California before he had a rank,
Mhm.
and then in the next round, if you're low ranked, they basically put you against somebody high ranked, so you get knocked out and they move forward. And so
Yeah.
the whole thing is set up for you to eat shit, a
Yeah.
lot of it, for years. Like he ate so much shit
Yeah.
that he got really comfortable with like losing. I do air quotes because it's like you're set up to lose. Like you are going to lose and you just have to figure out and he really got to the point where he just brushed it off. I was like, dude, you've learned the art of losing, which
You have
means
to.
you have to. And
Mhm.
then he won a match and he got really cocky and I was like, "Now you have to master the art of winning," which is a
Yes.
totally different art. Um,
It's so
but I
true.
agree. I there's something about and I encourage boys, girls, any age. Like I think people should just do. an activity that's physical, especially now with everybody stuck to their phones,
Yes.
and just get into your body and understand that and learn how to put in that work. I think it pays off. I think it pays dividends.
I completely agree, and even like you said, like, you brought up fencing, which I appreciate. It doesn't have to be football practice, but I think something that you're dedicating yourself to in a team environment, it changes you. I When I first jumped from the accounting world, I took a left turn and started in tech. I had no idea what I was doing,
Yeah.
and I was sitting down for a job interview with a mentor, now a mentor, then just a job interview,
Yeah.
and I was 22, I think, and he was like, "Here's what the job is gonna require, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." I had no idea. I had no idea how to do any of it, and he said, "But the most important thing is, like, you have to deliver." And I laugh about this now, but sometimes I think my 22-year-old self was more wise than me, but I looked at him and I said, "My skill set is to execute." And I don't know where the confidence came from, but I think it's, like, you get knocked down so many times in sports, you'll figure it out, right? And I think that that's something that you have to have as an entrepreneur is my skill
Yes.
set is execution. No matter what, no matter how you tell me to get this done, my goal is to figure out, how to win, how to get it done, how to overcome the challenges, and all of the stuff in between. We'll figure it out as we go. So,
Amen. I think true entrepreneurship is knowing in your gut, hell or high water, I'll figure it out.
yes,
Like,
yes,
there's somebody else did it. There's a solution out there. I will find it. And
exactly.
just having so much non-debatable confidence in that, like,
Yes.
there's a wall in front of me. I'm gonna go over it. I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna go under it. I'm gonna go around it.
Yep.
That wall doesn't matter. Like,
Yep.
it doesn't exist for me.
Yeah, totally agree, and I think that's what I see in a lot of these real estate agents, and that's why I don't like to prescript our tool either, right? It's not just for people who only work in relocation or in high relocation markets or are huge on social media, right? Like, we have agents using this 10 different ways, and the same for the industry, right? Not even our tool, but you don't have to be a social media monster to do well here. Even if you are one, there are other ways to be successful. And yes, like you said, there are basics to success, but we have people using our tool getting 30 plus leads and they've never posted about it on social. And then we have people posting on social getting the same number. So there's
Yeah.
not one way to success. It's figuring out what works for you. And like you said, over, under, through, what works for me, what works for
Yeah.
my business, and how am I going to get there?
Amen. I mean, even when I was thinking of all the different ways to apply it, it all just depends on what your primary pillars are for your
Yes.
business. Like, what
Yes.
is the pillar of what are the three biggest sources of your leads? Figure out how to apply it there.
Yes.
Open houses, great. Present this as a cool tool. You
Yes.
don't have to ask them for their information. Be like, hey, are you familiar with this neighborhood? No, we're actually new to the area. Great. Here's
Exactly.
a tool that'll help you. It'll take you 5 minutes to do it. Just hand it to them, and then they have to opt in at some point. I guarantee I haven't seen it, but I guarantee there's an opt-in where they
Yep.
trade the information for their email, and
Yes.
then poof, you now have a lead that's more predisposed to you,
Exactly. Yep, yep. So
and you have
that's
a way to follow up. Like, you
yep,
already know a ton about them, and that's just the application of an open house. Maybe you hate open houses. Great. What do you love to do? Leverage it there.
yep,
Like, you could put it in your newsletter.
yep. Give it to HR teams. You don't even have to collect the leads yourself. Like you said, we see people work with HR
Exactly.
teams. We see people work back to the athletes. We see sports and entertainment all the time, right? They're relocating.
For
They got a
sure.
tight timeline. They got, high expectations, and this is a concierge tool that can be used there, right? So exactly like you said, I think it's, the opportunities of how to use this tool or any tool in your space are endless. Figure out what your pillars are as an agent and start there to figure out how to be successful with those pillars.
Oh my gosh. I'm genuinely stoked for you. I think you have the right disposition for entrepreneurship, and you have one heck of a great product that I wish you nothing but just incredible success from this.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Sean.
Of course. For those agents who have hung with us,
Yes.
do you have any amazing hookup for them for sticking with us this far into the podcast.
Absolutely. Well, a free month if you find something other than Reddit as your top search. But the real offer is we would love to offer 20% to your audience. For the next 30 days after this podcast drops, you can use that by using code 180. And with that, get 20% off of your subscription.
Oh, that is so generous of you. Thank you. We'll actually put the link in the description below so you guys can just grab it and go. But thank you for that. I genuinely appreciate that. That's such a cool gesture for the listeners out there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're excited to work with like-minded agents who are investing in themselves and, from following along from afar, it seems like that's who you're bringing on, right? And who you're attracting is these agents who are looking to go through under or over and that's who we want to work with. So, excited to provide that offer.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with the podcast, the 90% of my episodes are with top performing agents to
Mhm.
try to figure out what they're doing. But then the consumers are the agent community out there who are looking to raise the bar and do things a little bit differently because we do need to differentiate ourselves. We do need to stand out. It is highly competitive out there. And if you have this if you have any advantage, it's an advantage, even if it's just a 1% advantage. But this is not just a 1%. Like, this is a massive conversion opportunity for anybody who runs with it. So,
Yep, absolutely.
Taylor, this was awesome. So, thank you. And,
Thank you.
and that's a wrap.
Awesome.